So it's wild that the PlayStation 5 Pro has not only been revealed, but it's causing the internet to kind of explode a little bit. But there's kind of a bigger picture to talk about with that, as well as just spontaneously last night before this show, an entire publisher might have just walked out. It's crazy. So welcome to Codename Goodgame, the show that we love to speculate the video games we love and the industry surrounding them. I'm your host, Mr. Samurai Kibiji. And look, this show, last week we had 2 topics. This week, we're going to have 2 topics. Maybe that's going to be our sweet spot, like 2 to 3 things. Because there's, especially the PS5 Pro, that kind of opens up the opportunity to talk about so many things about like what the consoles are doing and where they might be going, because it's set a new precedent. And it's funny because when I started Good Game way back, I had a fantastic competitive conversation with somebody during the whole Activision Blizzard acquisition, and I have him once again returning. Sir Josh from Quest Mode, you're back. Hello, I went live. Oh, wait, now you're on mute. There you go.
Oh, I was gonna say what's happening then. It's good to be back. I got to dig back to think about that conversation, but yeah, it's always good convo when I'm on Codename Goodgame. So thanks for having me. Looking forward to whatever we get into today.
Yeah, it's really just it's really especially the PS5 Pro. So, and
I'm a PlayStation expert, so or at least I consider myself one.
Hey, that's great. That's why I love it. Like, yeah, I am the PlayStation casual is the way I phrase it. So that's why I'm happy to have you and your perspective on, because I'm sure you've seen the reveal this week, or at least what the part that people are talking about. So it'll be very curious to hear if, like, how sold are you on this, or what do you think might be potential backlash or hype. We're gonna save that, but also just Annapurna. I don't know if you heard about that. If you didn't hear about that, brace yourself.
I have not heard.
Oh, this will be interesting. Okay, don't even look it up. I want to hear your reaction to that. So, whoops. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, see, I did the thing again. Okay, folks, I thought I turned off that intro. Sorry. So yeah, I would love to see your chat messages as you're watching this, because, again, even though this week I have a guest, you are part of the show, and throughout the show, I would like you guys to make a vote. In fact, I want to make this poll now. The first poll, I asked you all, are you getting a PS5 Pro? 71% are saying no, and then 29% say maybe. There is not a single percent for yes so far. Josh, initially, does that surprise you before diving into it? Just
that does kind of surprise me, actually. Like over 20%, or that only 71%
said no, 29% said maybe. They didn't say yes.
Yeah, that still surprises me. I actually thought it would be more that would say no, based off of kind of the polls that I've seen taken on online. Like I think IGN did a poll.
Yeah, I'm gonna reference that. Yeah.
Based on that, I would have guessed higher, but we might have more enthusiasts here. In fact, I'm pretty sure we have more enthusiasts here per capita, for lack of a better word, than IGN does. So, yeah. But yeah, it's I don't anticipate many people to be interested in this in general.
Yeah, we'll see. And then so I am gonna ask you guys throughout this whole show. Actually, I'll save it towards the end, because we're gonna have a moment with the chat towards the end. Josh, the fun thing I thought of for our good game today is we usually always play 20 questions, towards the end. I
miserably failed last time, yeah.
I wanted to hopefully see the chat choose who plays the good game at the end.
Okay.
So they're going to vote on who's the guesser and who's the hoster. And that's why I sent you a link in our chat here that, like, eventually I'm hoping you'll be able to click it and open it and not like in case I don't need to see it. But chat, if you want to submit a game for either of us to guess, then please go to the description. The link is there. You just press next and you can leave a game there and we will try to guess that. It's literally, you're leaving it live if you are watching this show live. But for now, Josh, I want you I want to get your live reaction to this first story. And I'm gonna read this, and I kind of have to because it really confused me hard.
Can't be good when something hits the wires on Friday afternoon. It's never good.
No, it was last night actually.
Okay.
So last night, I see my Twitter go off with the tagline: Annapurna video game team resigns, leaving partners scrambling. This breaks from Jason Schreier, and I'm just going to read the first 4 paragraphs because it kind of summarizes a lot, and then I'll give more specifics from me. The entire staff of Annapurna, the video game publishing division of Mega Ellison's Annapurna Studio, resigned this month following a dispute with its owner. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary, who FYI was one of the founders, I think, and his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the girl that owns the company, the daughter of a billionaire, Larry Ellison, to spin off the video game division as an independent entity. Remember that part. When Ellison pulled out of the negotiations, Gary and other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. And then this is a quote. I believe this is from Gary. No, actually, yeah, this is from Gary. All 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned, Gary and the group said in a joint statement. This was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not make this action lightly. A spokesperson for Annapurna confirmed that it had explored a spin-off and said the parties failed to reach an agreement, which led to the resignation. And to sum up a lot of the rest of this article, the people that are like the executives at Annapurna, whatever, are basically saying, hey, if you have a deal with us, we're still honoring stuff. We're going to figure it out. Don't worry. And that's kind of our situation. And Josh, I don't know your initial feelings hearing this. So, but again, the headline is that Annapurna Interactive basically quits, like all the staff there. But the part that confused me is I'm like, 25? Is that like how many people made up the entire Annapurna Interactive branch? Because there's a lot of other things going on. They have Annapurna Pictures and comics and stuff, but for the video game division, 25. So there's thoughts, but like if you're hearing this for the first time, I'm curious, like, what questions do you have?
Well, my question is like, so admittedly, when you started reading this, I was pulling up Annapurna's website just to see kind of what their current library of games looks like. And so maybe I missed this, but so I get that they were in negotiations with, or, you know, their, I guess, billionaire owner was in some sort of negotiations to spin off the company or I don't know if that means sell it, but what upset these people so much that they decided to pull out and do something else?
I mean, there's a lot that like we don't have those details, but from what it seems like, and I watched some other people's like takes on this and stuff, and what it seems like is the people at the publishing studio wanted to essentially unionize. They wanted to unionize, or they wanted to become a separate part of Annapurna instead of it kind of being a piece of one big company. So that sounds like generally that's what they were shooting for. And I forget the girl's name, Ellis or whatever, but the girl that's in charge of it said
Megan Ellison.
Yeah. So she just basically turned that down. And it sounds like Gary, who was one of the founders, like he left, I think, a week or two ago or something like that, or maybe a month ago. But it sounds like as he was transitioning out, this was a deal trying to be made, and when it didn't work out, the rest of the staff just followed him. So it's kind of an interesting circumstance, because it's like we've been hearing nothing but layoffs all year. There's another story that, if there's time, but I don't think we will, but just like there's another 650 layoffs at Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah,
and
I've heard about that.
there's nothing but layoffs this year, but this is a rare case where we hear about just people walking out.
My first reaction is, and I don't know if this is good or bad that this is my first reaction, but was that Annapurna has published a lot of games. As I kind of alluded to just a second ago, I'm not too familiar with what they've come out with in 2024, but I just
our favorite game ever, Stray.
Yeah. Well, I love Stray. Yeah,
Stray's great.
But prior to 2024, they've come out with a lot of stuff that I'm glad that there are publishers out there that pick up these games. Devolver being the other kind of big one.
I'm so glad you said it, because that's literally I would think Devolver and Anna. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So my first thought was, well, I hope that whether it's Annapurna or whatever remains of Annapurna, or this group of people, I hope one or the other continues this kind of pursuit of these games that they have published and keeps publishing them. So obviously Annapurna owns the publishing rights to all the games they've published, and they probably have a bunch of deals in place to publish games. But if what Annapurna does depends on these 25 people, I hope those 25 people, do in fact coalesce to form another publishing group where they can continue this work. Because
would it be publishing? Really, because I wonder that too. But then I don't know if you've seen, there's Blade Runner 2033 or something like that. Have you heard of that project?
Just when I went to their current website, they have that Labyrinth.
That's their first ever game that they're actually developing. Because they as you said, them and Devolver Digital are I would argue the key really fresh indie developer publishers out there. The stuff that they publish, there's a lot of bangers in there, and it's cool what they do. But Blade Runner 2033 was supposed to be their first ever, let's actually develop something. So that's one of my questions is was that part of the 25? Because I hear 25.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
Right? Like for a whole publishing branch. And was that also the develop? I feel like there had to been another developer team. There's no way that was a developer publisher team. I'm very curious about logistically who were those 25.
I would be too. I mean, I would be surprised if that includes the developers, the 25, and maybe that developer. I don't know if Annapurna bought a developer. I'm speaking from complete ignorance on the topic here, but I don't know if Annapurna bought that developer and that's a separate entity from these 25 people who work on the publishing side of things. I don't know how many people it takes to publish a game. Probably not. My kind of impression of publishing is that's what they're doing, is they're kind of providing the money, and they are also providing the connections, the networking that they need to market those games. And if there's any actually marketing that needs to get developed, they'll maybe do that. But even that stuff sounds like a big job for 25 people when you look at the slate of games. That's what I was thinking.
That to me is the part that I can't understand. I was shout out to Loves Most from our patron community, and she brought up in our patron Discord, and I was trying to understand it last night. I'm who are these 25? Was that literally all it took to make all of these partnerships and things happen? And who knows? Maybe maybe it is. Maybe it's just every day there's a third of them that are in charge of just constantly communicating, and the other third is about the actual publishing part. And I don't know. Maybe they just had a system and it worked. But regardless, I think the other side of this is, again, just in a time that it's just nothing but layoffs. I kind of commend, not necessarily I guess them walking out, but them walking out of a stable situation, as stable as you can get in this day and age. What's really stable now, but their leader wanted them to be their own thing potentially, and they didn't get that, and everybody. That's a really cool sign to say, if the leader didn't get what he wanted, we trust him, we're gonna follow him. So we're out. That's a really powerful thing, I think.
So yeah, this guy, I guess his name is Gary. Can't find his last name. Or Nathan Gary, that is his last name. So Nathan Gary, yeah, he was the guy. He didn't get what he wanted, walked out, and the other people followed him. It seems like that's kind of what happened, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. And in terms, especially on like the indie side of things, you can't get any more stable on like, even though I guess technically they're not indie once they have a publisher, but you know what I mean when I say indie games.
Yeah.
In that side of the industry, I feel like it's even less stable than if you work at like a AAA developer, which is not saying much. But so yeah, the fact that they did that, but it must have been like they must have been, I would think, very discontent with the way things were going, and they were probably very excited that this was going to go in a different direction. And then now when it didn't work out, and they just, especially if they were talking about unionizing, if that was a big thing that was basically stripped away from them, yeah, the fact that they walked out, like, more power to them if that's what, if this is really what they want, and especially if they have a plan to move forward and do something similar. Who knows what's going to happen, but I do commend them for that.
I do have concern for all the developer partners.
That's another thing. Yeah.
In the meantime, work on your game, but they're probably worried, as the article kind of says, but.
Yeah, like if you're a developer and you've got a game that was on the slate for like 2025 to get published by Annapurna, you've got to be thinking, "Oh shit, what now?" And that sucks.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. And clearly they had some money. I mean, I guess the lady that owns this,
she's a billionaire.
Lady, she's a billionaire. Yeah. So they don't have that anymore. Which, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have a feeling this isn't the last we'll hear of this, but it's just definitely a very different story from all the layoffs and shenanigans. And Annapurna is, again, like just somebody that I think the indie community really freaking loves. They published one of my all-time favorite games, Outer Wilds, and last year my one of potential game of the year is Cocoon. And and they find a game of the year potential Stray, and they find really cool projects to publish them, and I don't know, like it'll be curious, even if they don't work it out and somehow bring these people back but find a bunch of new people, is something going to change? Like it just seems like they have a new leader also, I forgot to mention that, who was actually a former founder too, but it sounds like the way they want to integrate this guy, we want you to help do what we were wanting and not what these guys were wanting. We want you to help integrate the games into our whole Annapurna imagery. We don't want the games to feel like a separate part. We want it to feel like a whole collective, and that's what they're getting this next guy to do. So I don't imagine, I feels like both sides here are holding firm to what they are trying to do. And as you said, I hope the people that walked out get their next thing. So
yeah, well, and the fact that this guy Nathan Gary resigned and then these people walked out, my guess is that he's the guy with the vision, because that's what you want if you're these people at a company like this, is the vision to create what Annapurna has become, which is a publisher of like really innovative, forward-thinking, different games that we wouldn't get otherwise.
It's a really good point, Josh, actually, because like for them to walk out like this, they must have known the vision and must have been like super into it. It's like, hey, like let's make a stand here, and if we can't do what Gary's trying to do, then so they must have been like all aboard whatever that vision was, as you said. So that's a good point.
So I mean, if that is correct, if that is what happened, and I don't know that it is, but if that is, then I would tend to follow him and see what he does next. And if it's within the gaming industry, then maybe these people will, I don't know, follow him. But I mean, if this ends up being the kind of the downfall of Annapurna, that would be sad.
As a video
for gamers,
game
but also
thing,
but also for these, like you said, developers who have projects in the works with them in the pipeline. But I would guess that if you have a game that's interesting enough to get picked up by Annapurna, hopefully if anybody does find themselves, not having a publisher or not having a way to get their game out there, hopefully they can find that.
Yeah.
But interesting. No, I hadn't heard that.
It just happened like at the end of the day yesterday. I was like, whoa. But our main thing that I really just kind of wanted to spitball with you in the chat that I hope, a shout out to Supertone and Creature here. But for now, just like, does everybody remember where they were when they heard the Kinect is bundled in with the Xbox One? Do they remember where they were when the PlayStation 3 was like $500 or $600 when it launched? Do you remember where you were? Potentially, is this another moment like that when the PS5 Pro was announced? And I say that because it was. The PlayStation 5 Pro was revealed this week after basically almost the entire year of just, it's happening. And now it finally happened. We got a full look at it of the big three and so on. Better ray tracing, faster GPU, and PSRR? I can't remember what it was. But the upscaling that they use AI to fill in the pixels, really cool technology. But those are the big three, and the console is launching, at least in terms of US dollars. There's a bunch of different prices, but for US dollars, it is launching for $699. And that is without a stand. That is without a disk drive. And there's been, I don't know if I've seen so much backlash like this since the Kinect for Xbox One. I don't know if you think of anything, Josh. Like you're nodding with me on that, but I don't think so.
The only thing in recent memory, and this is not a hardware thing, it's a software thing, was when Xbox started, when the rumblings began that Xbox was going to publish its games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
That caused some significant backlash. But as far as hardware goes, the Wii U was a total failure, but people didn't really, when that was announced, I think people were kind of wondering what is the Wii U? Like, who's this for?
Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily the price. It was more so like just what the thing was. Yeah.
I think people were more scratching their heads than being upset about it. And so, I think you might be right that the price of the Xbox One being $100 more than the PS4 and the Kinect being bundled in at that price, I think probably is the last thing I can remember. Yeah.
And that's kind of a similar situation too, I thought, because it's almost like it's almost like an opposite problem. Because when that happened for the Xbox One, they forced a piece of hardware onto people that they didn't really want for an extra $100. Now, the PlayStation 5 Pro, it's almost like even more hardcore, where it's like, okay, we're not going to bundle that in, but it's more expensive.
Yeah, and another difference, I think, one of the things that I think did make the Xbox One worse, and the reason that it, potentially, the reason we're getting Xbox Series X games on PlayStation in 2024, in my opinion, still has a lot to do with the Xbox One launch being so awful. And I think a big reason was they were also trying to force feed us this TV football on. You can watch football on your Xbox One, and people were like, "Are you kidding me?"
So you're diving into something that I wanted to run by you because you're kind of hitting it where, because a question that I had is how I guess I'm curious from your opinion too, can you find justification in the price? Because that's where I land, but you're getting to a spot that I do want to hit, being maybe how they feel that they can do this. But when I saw it, I obviously wasn't happy about it, but I felt like I was the only person that it made sense to, kind of a thing. Like I'm not happy about this, but when I think about it, there's going to be a 2 terabyte Series X with a disk drive coming out this holiday for $600. Okay, that's the same amount of memory. That's weaker hardware, but it does have a disk drive, so the disk drive maybe bounces out that weaker hardware.
$700.
So that is $600. This 2 terabyte Series X that's coming out. Sorry. Yeah. Because the standard is 1 terabyte. Now this is 2. So, and that's what the PS5 Pro is going to be, which I feel like they should have put that in their like ending graphic, honestly, because that's a really important point. So 2 terabytes and better hardware, that to me, I'm like, okay, it makes sense, but I think what it would have been more sensible is make with the disk drive 700 and without 600. I still don't think people would have been happy with that, but I think it would have gone down a lot better because since it doesn't have the disk drive or the stand either, you have to spend another 100 to 130 to make this a disk drive version, and then you're going to 800. So I guess I just explained my reasoning, but like you hear all that, and do you think like, okay, I see where you're going, but kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I do think that $700 is too expensive if you're going to have like what, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, but what is a marginal increase in noticeable game performance. Now, I've never played a PS5 Pro, so who knows? Maybe I'd play it and I'd be like, damn, this thing is like really silky smooth on games that
they explained it well,
be.
By the way. It's like you no longer have to make that choice between fidelity or performance. That's basically what they did. It's just both.
I'm still skeptical of that, but
okay.
I will always be skeptical of that, no matter how powerful. Okay, so here's one take I have. Well, maybe I'll get into this later, because to answer your question now, I do think the price is a bit too much. However, I did post a comment on someone's YouTube video about the PS5 Pro. I can't remember whose it was. I did say, in all fairness, my PS5 base model, now 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I guess 3.5 years ago that I bought that thing.
It's almost 4 now, yeah.
And I've upgraded it to include a 2 terabyte hard drive. Now, technically, it does have 3 terabytes. So my 3 terabyte base model PS4, or PS5, excuse me, cost me $630. So, and that was 4 years ago, like before inflation, like, took us all to, the house. So I was like, with that, I'm like, okay, I can maybe see how the bigwigs in a Sony boardroom were like, $700 it's about right? A bunch of like highly paid business dudes looking at each other. Now, I don't know if that's how it went down, but that's kind of what I imagine. And they're like, yeah, 700 sounds about right. I can see how they came to that, but I still think that it is pretty tone deaf when, like you said, and I didn't even take this into account, that Xbox has a powerful new console coming out with 2 terabytes built in. I guess it's probably the same, more or less the same, if not exactly the same as the Series X. But it just, I don't know how they expected that to go over so well, combined with the fact that they didn't really explain they didn't mention that it has 2 terabytes, as far as I know, anywhere in their presentation, which
they really should have. Yeah.
That shocked me that they didn't mention that, because I mean, a 2 terabyte, even a 1 terabyte SSD, if you buy it by itself, you're looking at, I don't know, $60 to $100 if you get a cheap one. 2 terabytes, it's like $130. But
for the PlayStation 5, you have to get the certain kind.
Yeah. Like mine, I got it on sale on Amazon for like $130, and that I thought was a great price when I bought it. Anyways, they didn't include that, and I do think that it was a mistake to just show a bunch of games that almost every PlayStation owner has already played and probably isn't going to play again. Like that, like Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, The Last of Us Part 2. I'm like, bro, this is not how you get people to spend $700.
So this is where we finally have, like, you and I, we have such good, like, just rational conversations. I somewhat, like, I don't necessarily disagree, but I've heard that point so many times, and I'm like, here's the thing. I think I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to rely on these games that people have played, that they had to make that choice with, that we can kind of brace them for the future, that like you no longer have to make that choice anymore like you had to in these games. Now, I agree, what they could have did is like end it with like 1 or 2, not game reveals or announcements, but just reminders of like things coming in the future that you'll be able to play them on PS5, sure, but you'll be able to play them best with this. Like just that little extra 5 or 10% of the presentation. I think, yes, that would have helped. But I do get why they looked at past games to kind of rely on that. You had to make that choice when you did this. But there is, there's so many parts of this, but there is, I see Creature saying, are they trying to say they're going for full digital next generation? That's a whole other part of this, man. Like, that's a...
I mean, I think Sony would love that. Well, I think any console maker would love that.
They'll all love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think yes, and I mean, I've gone all digital. I used to be a physical or die basically gamer. But then once I went digital, once I realized how much I could grow my library of games for less money by going digital, even though I probably do spend more, but I get way more games, on my digital collection than I did on physical. So for that reason, I've gone digital, and I can't imagine that there might be a separate disc drive that's sold for consoles in the next generation, but it's going to be the first generation I think that people will, by and large, consider digital.
So yeah. It's so funny. There's so many parts to this, man, that so there's two things. One, I'll comment on the digital thing, but there's one you've mentioned before, that is Xbox potentially part of the reason this is maybe happening, and two, what might the next gen consoles be, which are those are two things that I think would be interesting just to hit at least briefly. But we're clearly transitioning to a digital era. That's why the PlayStation Portal was not a native device. They're doing this streaming version of it. Xbox is gearing up with cloud stuff, and there's just all these. We even see all these PC handheld devices, and you can't buy a physical copy for those because they know for the PC peeps, it's basically entirely digital, and so we're transitioning to that era, like it or not, and. I hope there will always be that option, like you said, that people can buy something that through a USB-C port can play physical stuff, but then it's does physical stuff get produced? That's kind of a bigger conversation that for next gen, I think that is a thing that next gen may be the last of physical games, but also I'm curious, Josh, if that's I've said it a couple times, but essentially in my mind, I'm really thinking next gen is kind of the last gen. And I say that because of the PS5 Pro now. Before I had reasons, as the digital reasons we just said, but now a conversation a lot of people have said is this price, this $700 price, and especially if you want the stand and the disc reader, you're in that gray area between console gaming and PC gaming.
Yeah.
I do not agree with anybody that's you might as well just build a PC. You're not quite, because you can't make a PC. I've seen a lot of people try to do it the past couple days. You can't make one that's going to be running the same way a PlayStation 5 can for the same price. You will have to go into that $1,000 or higher tier to do that 4K 60 and higher, to do the scale resolution things, blah, blah, blah. You'll have to spend over $1,000. You just can't do that with $700 or $800. But the thing is, that area between $600 and $1,000 was that's that spot where you choose, which side do you want to lean to? The cheaper console thing for my living room, or the more expensive PC that can kind of do everything. And so because we're getting into that price range, now my question is there's people that were saying maybe the next Xbox console is, I don't know if this is happening, but people are speculating, is it just basically going to be a PC now? It'll be able to play Steam, it'll be able to play Epic, and so on and so forth. And that's what I'm wondering is the next console generation our kind of last PlayStation 6, our last Xbox the box, and then we're just going to be PC manufacturers going forward. You get what I mean? Does that scare you or nervous or make sense?
No, I'm not too worried about it. The only thing I'm worried about are people's digital libraries. Like, what are you going to do with that? If like, and I think Microsoft is better suited for this than Sony because they own Windows. Like, they can basically make, like, why not just make an Xbox that has Windows on it? And you may not be able to install Microsoft Office on your Xbox, but who cares as long as you can install games, like you said, or install Steam on it, then I think that would be awesome. And I hope that that's the direction that Xbox goes. And I have a hunch that if they do a handheld, that is the direction that they're going to go. But that's a whole other conversation on that, like the handheld front. For PlayStation specifically, and Nintendo's a whole other thing. Like, they've got their Switch, they're going to do the Switch 2. As long as they don't like totally, like, they'd have to royally screw up for that not to sell gangbusters. They're going to be fine. But PlayStation's in a bit of an interesting situation, and I think we're seeing it play out with the PlayStation Pro, because what we're going to see, PlayStation 6 is not going to have the graphics are going to look more or less, especially to the untrained eye, like a PlayStation 5 when PlayStation 6 does come out. I mean, that's basically what happened with PlayStation 5. Like, if you compare the best looking PlayStation 4 games to the first PlayStation 5 games, it's not like when you go back in the day from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, it was a huge jump from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. It was not quite as big, but you can still tell the difference. And I think that's what I compare it to phones. Like, I kind of just take Apple's word for it that I don't upgrade my phone.
I'm so glad you brought up Apple, because that happened this week too. Yeah.
But I don't upgrade my phone every year. I upgrade probably every 4 years. But and yeah, my phone works better.
I see where you're going with this. I like it. I see where you're going. Yep.
I think that it's going to be it's just going to be a more marginal upgrade every time. I don't think we're going to get a new console every year. No way that's going to happen. It's still going to be every 6 to 7, maybe even 8 years for a long generation. But I just think people's perception of video game technology is going to change, and we're not going to expect these major upgrades. And before that happens, if companies jack up the price on these things, they're going to see this backlash. And I think that they're going to have to be smarter with how they roll these new consoles out. Like, I think the best timing they could have possibly had for the PlayStation 5 Pro would have been to roll it out side by side with GTA 6. Whether or not they do an actual marketing deal or not, it's like, GTA 6 just came out, well, check this out. This is how it's going to look the best, and you're actually going to see a noticeable difference on GTA 6 if you play it on a PS5 Pro. That, I think, might have I don't know if
it still might, so there's you were referencing earlier, there was a poll from IGN that, in fact, I might be able to pull this up here for those that are watching live. Yeah, cool, I got it. So there's something here that there's just a stat here. The PS4 Pro sold just over 14 million units during the PS4's total units sold, which was 117 million. So basically, that's around 12 to 13% of the pie. Then IGN did a poll asking tens of thousands of people who intends to buy the PS5 Pro. And funny enough, the results of that poll is 10 to 15%, which is about the same as the PS4 Pro. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that just winded up being the same, essentially. But I agree with you, when GTA 6 comes out, maybe, at first, we're going to get the hardcore people buying this thing. But when GTA 6 comes, then they're going to consider, where can I play that best? And that'll be interesting, because to kind of transition to the other of the 2 points that I was teasing at earlier is this console, as expensive as it is, because their main competitor isn't quite as, in terms of the console market, as strong as they are, and especially the direction they're going. And if GTA 6 comes out, because there are rumors that, and I did a whole video about this, that Xbox is gonna they're not gonna have a mid-gen, they're just straight up gonna do their next gen in 2026. And if they do that, and GTA 6 gets pushed back to 2026, that's going to be a really interesting moment. But if it does make 2025, then that might be the thing that gets the PS5 Pro out.
Yeah.
But
because remember, like GTA 6, as far as I know, I don't think it's going to be a simultaneous release with PC. I think it's coming out on console first, just like GTA 5 did.
I don't think they've said that PC's day and date. They haven't said it's not, but they haven't explicitly stated PC day and date. So
I guess it could, but yeah, GTA 5, famously like didn't come out for PC for like a year or something like that after console. So if that happens and PS5 is like, far and away the most powerful console you can buy, I do think that will move the needle for PlayStation. And who knows, maybe that's why they're getting out ahead of it now, but I don't know why they would announce the PS5 Pro with no new games to show for it. I mean, like, I know that there's Last of Us 2 Remastered, which is a PS5 game, but The Last of Us 2 came out for PS4. Like, and they used that game to show off the PS5 Pro. Like, that to me, I'm just like, oh man, I don't know. And I even wondered, I'm like, I don't know how well Concord ran on the PS5 when it was still a PS5 game, but like, I don't know if maybe they were planning on using that in some of their marketing materials for the PS5 Pro, and they didn't expect it to fail.
It's supposed to be in that Blur series, man.
Yeah.
but yeah, like just the who knows, like maybe they thought that this is a good plan, but I am in agreement with you, and I do want to bring that up. Like C2DD in the chat says, I don't think PlayStation is going anywhere, but Xbox might. And that's the thing. It's like Xbox is kind of, because their direction that they're going, that you don't like, Josh, your most anticipated game of the year, Indiana Jones. Are you going to wait to play it on PlayStation? Or
yes,
actually,
I will.
You will. See, that's the exact thing. But that's the exact point. I think that's the thing that like makes PlayStation think like, hey, they'll probably still have a console, but we're going to be the person, like we're going to be the person for the third parties to make the sales on. So let's not be that competitive. There's an insider, I guess, this morning that was like saying, oh, he has the most ridiculous name. I forgot what it was, but he was saying like it's, from what I'm hearing, Xbox is aiming, keywords aiming, for their next system to cost $599. Not the handheld, but just the console $599. And if they do that, and it's like a year or two before the PS6 comes out, that's like a repeat of the 360 and PS3 era all over again, where one's more expensive and is getting ahead, and the other's getting ahead of them and being cheaper and everything. But I think that because of the Xbox One era and this era's, like Xbox One era's launch and this era's kind of confusing direction, those two things maybe is letting PlayStation know we can do this. And that's what you were teasing at earlier, maybe, that I would agree with, which is the importance of competition. We said that in one of our earlier episodes, the importance of competition. It's not console warring. It's just to make things better for us. So anyway, sorry.
I do think that played into it for sure. Like, I think that they looked at what Xbox is turning into and they said, we can do this. Like, even if there is this, maybe they actually anticipated this backlash. Still think they did a garbage job, like communicating why you should spend $700 on this thing. But maybe they thought when they were pricing this, like, there's going to be some backlash, but what are consumers going to do? Like, go buy the next Xbox? And they probably thought, even if they do buy the next Xbox, we're positioned fine against that. And I actually think I do think Xbox is going to struggle in the hardware market. If nothing, I don't foresee what could put Xbox above PlayStation in terms of console unit sales over the next 10 to 15 years. I just don't see it, but maybe
unless
I'm wrong
they
on that,
made, which they won't, they're not going to, but unless they committed to Indiana Jones being exclusive, Doom, Dark Ages being exclusive, Call of Duty being exclusive, because those are Elder Scrolls. Like, those are things that people need to play.
I do think they jumped the gun on making that stuff multi-platform. Kind of bummed out to see it, even though I'm going to play Indiana Jones on my PlayStation. But
so you really going to wait for that?
Yes, and you know why? And this is
damn, man.
This is the thing with PlayStation, and I don't know how many gamers there are out there like me, but like I want my trophies, and I just feel it's like if I can play on my PlayStation, I just feel more comfortable there, you know. And like
that's a good point.
they've got me so hooked into their ecosystem that I will play any game that I can on PlayStation, but I will not buy the PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes out. This will actually be the first piece of new console hardware from the big three that I will not buy on day one.
Did you get the PS4 Pro?
I did get the PS4 Pro. So the last console maker release that I didn't buy on day one was the Xbox One X. I didn't buy that day one. But going back to PS4 and Xbox Series X, I've bought every single console the day it's come out. So the PlayStation 5 Pro will be the first that I will not buy since the Xbox One X, I guess.
Yeah. There is another thing about setting the bar for next gen being like, again, we're teetering that line of do you get a PC or not? But like $700, is this going to become the new standard price? You know, because that's what happened. Like we saw with Xbox, I can vouch that, you know, like I think there's the whole $400 or $500 debacle. The console prices went down, which is the key thing. This gen, that's not happening, but they transitioned down, but they brought back the 500 model with the One X, and then that went down, and then the Series X came out as a new $500 model, but now, like, I wonder, is this PS5 Pro also signaling that, like, this is our new bar that we can reach? They're both teetering with 600 because there's this 2 terabyte Series X out now, and now there's this PS5 Pro happening. So I think we're looking at the next gen to minimum be 600, but if it's 700, then man,
I think the full-on next gen console. Well, unless Sony like cuts the price of the PS5 Pro, I don't see how I just don't see how they could price the PS6 any less than $700. I think
unless these consoles manage to go down in price, that's exactly.
Yeah, like if PS6 comes out and they're like it's $699, $599. Like, what is that going to say to anybody who bought a PS? I mean, that's basically saying if you bought a PS5 Pro, you got your ass ripped off.
Yeah. So. But again, like, what if Xbox releases their thing? That'll be interesting, man. If the next Xbox releases at like $600, and then then it's like, you know, what does PlayStation do like a year or two after that? Like, that'll be really interesting.
I'm sure Xbox was very happy to see the price of the PS5 Pro, and like, so one thing
that'll be a win if they can get that. That'll be we'll see, but
yeah, I'm just mostly interested in seeing the reception of this and how marginal the step up is in graphics and how I also think it will be similar when the PS6 comes out. I mean, the PS6 will be a bigger jump in technology, but I'm just like, what are they going to do to make the PlayStation 6 interesting, or the next Xbox? Like, I think Xbox has an advantage here, actually, where they have more ways to make the next Xbox interesting, whether it's a handheld, whether it has Windows and you can play your Steam games on it. I think those are things that are going to be more appealing than just like, here's the next PlayStation, and it's exactly like the PlayStation 5, but better. Like, I don't see how that's going to be interesting to people. And it's going back to the iPhone. It's like people make fun of Apple because it's like, you check out the new iPhone. It's just like the iPhone 15, but with a new button. Yeah. You know, and so how are consoles not going to become that?
You make a good point about the phone comparison. I think we're just going to be to that point next gen that not only is it basically becoming a PC, but also we're kind of at that peak of technology that we're not going to see much of a difference. I think it'll be more about game design, but that's a whole other conversation. But Devin, go ahead.
Sorry, I want to get this thought out before it slips away. Will they make the next generation of console like have an upgradable graphics card or something? I don't know. Like, or just all the components, and then it really is like a PC. It's like it plugs right into the PlayStation ecosystem, so you've got that. It plugs into your TV, so it's got that. But other than that, it's like it's a PC now. You can buy, you know, in 3 years when there's a better graphics card, you can buy that for your PlayStation.
I mean, you have to open up your PS5, kind of like a PC, to upgrade that SSD.
Yeah.
Not super hardcore, but
So maybe that's it.
But Devin May brings up something. He says Nintendo has a broader appeal than other consoles. They focus more on affordability and game quality of their main IPs. Yeah, like also Nintendo Switch successor will sell like hotcakes if it has PS4 level graphics and a $400 price tag. Yeah, that's 100%. The thing. Like Nintendo's gonna own that like just casual mainstream gamer market because they'll have the cheapest thing. Yeah, they don't have the best graphics, but they're just going to make fun games that people are going to want to play on their systems, and they are owning hard the old ways, and just you can't play our games anywhere else, not even on PC. Like, you can't do that. So they are just they're going to own that market that they are, but that's why it's like I hope to see a future that all three of these guys can do their own thing, but also that like they don't get to do it freely, if you get what I mean. That's what I really hope happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see the next Switch when it does come out. But I agree. Yeah. I think it's going to. I even think at $500, that thing is going to sell like hotcakes. I hate to say that, but like, I mean. Like I hope it's like 350, but I don't think that'll happen. 400 would be the sweet spot. But
they need to lower the price of their Switch. They haven't done it. They haven't done it in the over 7 years it's out.
I mean, yeah, and I don't know how many copies Tears of the Kingdom sold, but like, dude, I stopped playing that game because I'm not a graphics snob. Like, I'll play games at 30 frames per second on my
yeah.
But I was playing Tears of the Kingdom. I was just like, I can't handle the fact that I feel like I'm playing like a 10-year-old game because it's on the Switch. So they have proven, though. My point is that they have proven that you do not need a game to look next gen in order for people to like love your game. So,
oh, dude, like that's a whole like I encourage you to watch my latest video about Astrobot. Like, there's a whole thing I have to say about that, and just a smaller team, smaller dev cycle. It's still possible. But Nintendo proves you don't need super high graphics and stuff, or massive open worlds and so to speak. But
although they did prove you still need like a 7-year dev cycle because that game took forever to make. But.
That is true. They still do those things. One more question comment from C2, which, by the way, if you guys are watching live, Josh and I are going to do our good game, and I need to post the poll that you guys are going to choose who guesses a game over 20 questions. Go to the description. You could submit a game for us, and the winner will guess that game. But C2 says, that's why I disagree with people that say the console market is dying. That only applies to one of the three companies. I'm assuming you're meaning Xbox. Which company? People are mad about the Pro price, but the thing is gonna be sold out. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like at least I hope that PlayStation knows, like, they're not all gonna buy this. Like, we know it's gonna be like a select handful. So let's just keep it, low supply, and that way it sounds cool because we're always selling out and stuff. So that's a good point. But yeah, he says I do mean Xbox. Yeah. Xbox's next console's for sure their last. Yeah. I definitely think so.
I don't think the console market is dying. I do think that it is changing at a more rapid pace than we have ever seen, and I think that the next gen is going to look vastly different. I mean, you've seen there's like any report that comes out about console sales, it's that they're at the very best staying flat with next gen or with last gen, and they're not improving. And I think that means that console makers are going to have to figure something different out for whatever the next gen is. And I'm excited to see what it is, especially with Xbox. Very curious to see what they come up with.
Yeah, their direction is just so like whether you think it's good or not, it's like you just want to see. You just want to see like what they're, because that's what I always tell people. It's like I think I'm an Xbox guy just because I think what they're doing is so interesting to just follow. That's all. Like, it's not that it excites me. It's just like it's always interesting what they're doing. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. But so I put the poll now, chat, as to, you can vote now. Who's gonna guess the game, Josh or Tony? So you can choose that now. Leave the game that you would like us to guess in the description. And also feel free to ask any little questions as we have a moment with the chat. But also, in the meantime, Josh, I had a little for funsy question. What would you say, in order, if you had 1 minute to answer, are your 3 favorite console generations?
3 favorite console generations. I would have to say...
I think I know mine. I asked the chat this too. Chat, what is your 3 favorite console generations that you got to experience?
I think in terms of just my entire gaming history, I got to go with PlayStation 1, and I would put N64 in that same category, and even the Dreamcast. I don't know if Dreamcast is the next gen, but those 3 consoles were what I like. That's
okay. So let me rephrase. Like, what 3? So I meant okay, that's a good. I see where you're going for here. Is like that generation was the most exciting. I guess that's a good. I initially was thinking of what console generate like this, like the Sega Genesis.
That's specific. Okay.
Yeah. But I kind of like where your head was going. But
yeah, because then you're kind of just picking your favorite console. But
I guess,
definitely, yeah. I would say PlayStation 1 has probably in terms of impacting me. That's where I went from being just a kid who plays video games to being this is going to be my hobby for the rest of my life. If that makes any sense, So PlayStation 1 would probably be my favorite. After that, I would probably go with... That's tough, man. I could go all the way back to the Nintendo Entertainment System. That was the first console I ever had, and you could make the argument that I wouldn't play video games if I never got introduced to that. I don't think that's... So yeah, we'll include the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then in terms of the modern consoles, I'd have to go with the PS4. Really is what has... PS4 solidified me as being the gamer that I am today. That's what pulled me into the ecosystem of PlayStation, and with trophies being a part of that, and just that's where my digital library grew to be what it is now, which really interesting. Going back to the conversation we had, I don't know if we have time, but the Phil Spencer interview with Kind of Funny back when, I can't remember why, if this was the one that he did after one of the interviews he did. Anyway, when he said that Xbox lost the console war, one of the things he said was they lost the generation where people started building their digital libraries, and that is such a good point.
It's such a good point.
And
yep.
That's why PS4, I think, is one of my favorite consoles of all time, because I built my digital library on that thing, and
that was it's such a true point, man. That was a pivotal point that people kind of chose where they wanted to be, and because that's when digital libraries really did become a thing. And yeah, we had them, but that's when it really became a thing. So yeah, it's a good point. And sorry, you're just saying that's
no, you go ahead.
Yeah. Because I think the PS4 era is freaking amazing. In fact, do I say that? Because for me, first and foremost, I definitely... Okay, I think I already know mine off the top of my head.
Yeah, let's hear it.
For similar reasons that you said, I would have to say the PS2 era is definitely the PS2 console is what solidified me as a gamer. Yes, I played the Super Nintendo. Yes, I played the 64. I think I dabbled with Sega a bit. I definitely had an Xbox and GameCube, but the PlayStation 2, it's where I played Kingdom Hearts for the first time, and that's what made me a gamer. And then from there on, it's I played so many things with PlayStation 2. The 360, for sure. That's where I really fell in love with what is my all-time favorite game franchise, Halo and Gears, and just 360, man. That was Xbox popping on all cylinders. 2007, just look at that release list. It's nuts. And then after it's a toss up. If I had to say the third, it's I admire the PlayStation 4 era the most. I would probably have to give it to that critically, because that was just such a good era. Like you said, just this is what PlayStation does. But I'm finding myself kind of loving this era of the series just because of Game Pass. And it's I'm kind of experiencing so many different parts of this gen. So it's like, critically, I give it to PS4. Experimentation, I give it to Series just because of Game Pass. But yeah, for sure, 360 and PS2. Those are mine. I've seen some people say the Wii, Supertone. C2 says the Wii U. If you're trolling or not, whatever, man. But that's a comment. Devin says 5TH, 7th, 8th. Oh, like 5th gen, 7th gen, and 8th gen. What are we in now? Are we in 8th?
I've never figured out the numbers.
Yeah, I think we're in 8th now. I think next is 9. So, yeah, I could see that. And what did you guys choose for the winner of our thingy? Also, C2 said the digital library point he made was good, but the good games won't help Xbox point he made, I think, is crazy. Wait, what did you say about good games won't help Xbox? No, I think he's referring to the interview you were referring to, and just maybe more so Phil's comment about that when he said even if Starfield's 11 out of 10, it won't sell consoles. I think that more so is what he's referring to, but and then Patrick Cervantes, PS2 original game. Oh, I forgot about the Game Boy. The Game Boy.
Yeah,
that's a good shout out.
That wouldn't make my top 3, but yeah, that wouldn't make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says PS2, Game Boy, and Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I thought of Nintendo Switch, but I don't know if I could put it in my top 3. It's probably maybe like number 5 or 6. But yeah. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you were talking about which games the games that made the consoles that you like your favorites, I was thinking about like the PS3 would actually also be close because that's got the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And all the Uncharted games, The Last of Us. That's a close one. So got to give a shout out to the PS3.
Josh, I hope you can access the link that is in our Discord because we have 62% that are finally ready to see Tony play his own good game.
Yes. Well, let me click the link because I do have the link here.
I don't know. Hopefully one of you guys submitted something. If you don't see anything, if there's like a responses tab and there's nothing in the responses tab, then you pick one, sir. You can just...
It says not shared. There is a next button for me to click.
Press the next button. Yep.
Okay. Pick one option below.
Does it require you to like sign in or something?
No, the send comes from blank online. So do I...
Does it open like this good game form sheet?
Yeah, there's a trivia submissions form. It says pick one option below to be featured.
Yeah,
trivia for
but is there a tab that says like is there a tab that says let me see if I can grab it. Sorry, folks.
It says there's a box below that says this send in comes from blank online gamer tag.
Yeah. But let me make sure if I can open this myself. Incognito tab. Should have tested this with you before. No.
So yeah, basically it's asking me for which game I think you should guess.
Okay. Chat, stand by for 1 second. There is a response. Okay, so I see. I'm not going to see the response though. Let me make sure I can. Because I know you can. We've done this before, where I know you can see it. I need to add a collab. That's what I tried to do. Yeah, add a collaborator. Anyone with link. Oh, this is the responder link. Shoot. Editors will be able to view and delete form responses. Yes. So does that not work for you? Sorry, chat. Give a moment, but I'm just trying to test this. Next. Oh, you're right. You can't see it. Okay. Shoot. How do I... There's a way. I know. Now there's 2 responses.
What if I submit an answer? Will it let me then view?
No. Because I'm trying to make you the collaborator on the form. And editors will be able to... Anyone can edit. Yeah, it says I can add...
By the way, I don't know who designed your logo for this show, but it is awesome.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, like I did commission somebody to do that, and it's fantastic. Hang on, chat. I'm gonna put on the Wii channel music, and then the Wii waiting music. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So as I get Josh to be able to open this link, Devin May, I think the Switch is now my favorite console just for its library of games. Yes, I would argue this is like one of Nintendo's best eras for sure, no question.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Copy responder link. I don't want him to be a responder. I want him to be an editor. That's what I'm trying to let you see is the editor version. Okay.
Also pick a game, but who picked the game? I guess someone in chat did, right? Yeah.
Yes, somebody that's watching live did. This is literally like the you can't hear it, but there's like elevator music happening. This is responder. I want somebody that can edit it. People with access. Add editors.
Is there a way?
Okay, Josh, I'm gonna. Oh wait. Do I still have your? Damn it. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you got an email.
I did just now. My phone went off.
Okay, let's see if you can use that. Because I do still have your old email.
What happens here?
I sent you a link that should have let you be the editor. You know what? Maybe there's another way too. If I can.
I can see. I see 3 responses here.
Ooh, there you go. That's what you need to see. So you can open the responses?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Obviously, I don't want to read this, but
yeah, don't read it out loud. Hello, Fun Speculation. Oh my goodness, dude, I need you on the show, man. If you're watching this live, you and I need to do something. But... So you can see.
I don't think it matters that I share this with you, but there are 3 different games here.
Yeah, so feel free to pick one that maybe you think you can answer the best. Or if you just want to see me try to get.
I mean, that's a pretty easy pick for me to decide on. I don't want to give you any hints here.
So you got one?
Well, I'm pulling up the article on one of them because I think I could.
The Wikipedia.
Yeah, just to see. Kind of how much do I want to challenge you? I think is the question here.
So if you're just joining us live, we went through our happy to if anybody's got any final comments, but we're about to do the good game, which I always try to do when like the hour hits, but we spent like the past 5 or 6 minutes trying to like get this link to Josh so I don't see it because the chat chose me to be the guesser and Josh to be the person that knows what the game is. And I'm going to try to figure out what this game is over 20 yes or no questions. And you guys are welcome to try to figure it out yourself. A couple of you submitted a game, so maybe you'll start to realize it's like, this one's definitely not mine. So that's what we're about to do to close out the show. Josh, let me know when you are ready.
All right. I think, yeah. I'm tempted to go with this other one, but based off of my knowledge of that game, I think we should go with the other one. So I know which one we're going with.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 20 Questions. Let us begin.
And am I keeping track of your questions, or is chat keeping track of how many?
Let's try both. Like you try to keep track, but chat, maybe you guys can just type Q1 this blank or whatever.
Yeah, I can
Future, do you think the next Switch and Xbox will look more cool than the PS5 Pro? No, I have faith in PlayStation's console design. I want that wacky Wi-Fi router. Okay. Question 1. Was this released after 2000? 2000 or later?
Yes.
Okay. That's 1. Was this a console exclusive? When it launched. When this game launched, was it a console exclusive?
I am...
Steady?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Supertone. Good job. When this game launched, it was exclusive. Was this... How do I know? I want to... This is going to make it a lot easier if it's an exclusive. Do I just run through them all? Frick it, why not? Was this an Xbox exclusive?
No.
Okay. Was this a Nintendo exclusive?
No.
Okay. It could have been PC, but I'm going to assume PlayStation. So, okay. That was 4, I think, right?
Yeah, that you've asked 4 questions. That is correct.
Okay. Okay. So for now, I'm going to assume PlayStation exclusive. It was after 2000. Was this released for the PlayStation 4 or 5 when it came out?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. You did ask console exclusive before. Yes, I did C2, but I asked I didn't know what console. I just asked if it was a console exclusive. Is so not for the PS4 or 5 after 2000. Was this released for the PlayStation 3? When this game launched, did it release on the PlayStation 3?
No.
Okay. If it was cross-gen, then technically the answer is still yeah. But, okay, so no.
I mean, well,
you know what I mean? Like if it launched, when it launched, and it launched for both the PS2 and PS3. I don't feel like we did that though.
Yeah,
back in the day.
no, this definitely did not launch on the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
So,
good job, Supertone. Thank you. Oh, that's true. C2 makes a good point because I did say, was this console exclusive? And he's like, yeah, but just saying that rules out PC technically. If I did say console exclusive, then that is true. Okay.
I think you did say console exclusive. Yeah.
Okay. Good catch, C2.
I have you at 6. Is that right, chat? Keep me honest,
chat. I think so. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So not released. You said not released for PlayStation 3.
At launch, yeah, not released
at launch.
PlayStation
At launch,
3.
Yeah. Okay. Was this are you aware if this was published by SIE, aka was a first party game? that the Wikipedia should tell you that.
No.
Okay, it was not SIE. Okay.
NANI?
I just made a sound for the chat to engage. This is fun. I haven't been able to play this game ever. I'm always the person that hosts it.
It's not as easy as it looks, but you're you're doing.
But I'm just getting the general stuff out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this wasn't an SIE game. It was not released for the PlayStation 3, 4, or 5, but it is console exclusive. But it is not released for Xbox or Nintendo as the exclusive. So it's probably PlayStation 1, 2, or Vita, PSP, whatever. Oh, God, how do I rule this down more? Is this a JRPG?
Yes.
Oh!
Yeah, that was a good one.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. I was fully expecting no. JRPG. Did what did they call it? Did Squaresoft / Square Enix publish or develop this game? Wikipedia should say.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like before they were Square Enix,
mark?
they were Squaresoft before Square Enix or whatever or something like that. So
I mean, I don't know how to answer that other than yes with an asterisk. Like,
okay. Okay.
I'm trying to think of a better way to answer that.
If they either or developed or published it. So
I will say this game, it is a fact to say this game was published by Square Enix.
Okay. I see C2 going, that's my game for sure. All right, cool. Don't spoil it. The rest of us can guess that. So it was C2's game probably. Did you see that, by the way? Because I did leave a spot that people can like shout out that this was their submission or something. But I'm sure it is C2's. So was this a turn-based game? Are you aware of that? If you're not aware, then you don't have to answer.
Hold on a second. I'm just seeing.
Or if this is C2's game.
Last question.
I think I see question 8. Is this a JRPG? 8 sounds right. I know we're getting close to 10.
Yeah, so you're on 8. Well, the last question you asked.
Oh, you're right. Yes, the Square Enix question. Yes.
Yeah. So what was your 9th question?
Is this a turn-based game? If you're aware.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. I mean, why did I ask that? Every JRPG. What JRPG in those days was not turn-based? PS2 or earlier, what was not turn-based? That was a waste of a question. Frick it, I'll just attempt this. Is this game part of the Final Fantasy franchise?
No.
Okay. I figured it wasn't. Yeah. I just want to make sure. Okay. I might not get this. Screw it. I'm just going to find out. When this came out, was this during the PlayStation 2 era?
Yes.
And I'm phrasing it like that because I think that's also... No, the PSP came out during the PS3 era, if I remember right. Yeah. So, yeah, this has come out during the PS2 era. Okay. Yeah, there wasn't anything else during the PlayStation 2 era, if I recall. Yeah, they didn't really have anything else until the PlayStation 3. So, yeah, so did this release during the PS2 era? You said yes?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got you. That is 10, right? Or is that 11?
I think it's 11. 11 sounds more right. Yeah, I think question 10 was the turn-based question, and then 11 was
that makes sense.
Whatever I just asked. Shit. I just said that was one of my favorite eras, but I didn't play everything. I don't know Square games from that era or even Square involvement other than... Okay, so I asked earlier if this... If like Square was involved, if this is if this is part of the Final Fantasy franchise, but are Final Fantasy characters in this game?
No.
Okay, that was a waste of a question. For some reason, I thought maybe it was like Kingdom Hearts, and you were like, I mean, it's Disney's game, but Square developed it.
Yeah. No, and I mean, yeah, I don't get too hung up on that Square Enix question.
Yeah, I'm just also trying to think of JRPGs, and a JRPG during the PS2 era, shit. Like, I literally, the only one I played was Kingdom Hearts. And I'm aware of Final Fantasy X, and that's it. Shoot. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get this. I don't know if I'm going to get this. Okay. You said it was turn-based, too. I have no idea. I might have to call it when we get to... Yeah, I'll try to speedrun this in the next 5 minutes, because I don't think I'm going to get this.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah. Did the I have no idea.
This game gets tough. Yeah, when you hit a wall, it's like, where do you go?
It just sucks when you get to the spot that you're like, I don't even know what it could be, and you just get stuck, man. Like, because I've narrowed it down hard, but I'm like, I don't know what JRPGs with the PS2 era, like, other than Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, that were turn-based.
Yeah, I don't think this will help you, but I was deciding at the beginning of the game to go with the hard game or the easy game, and this is the easy game.
Oh my god. Okay. That's hilarious. Frick. Was Bandai Namco part of this game?
Did
they develop, publish, have any IP represented?
No.
Okay. I admit I glanced at the chat, and maybe I shouldn't, because I think I saw somebody said Tales of, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Bandai Namco, but I could be wrong, actually. Yeah, I don't know, because Bandai Namco only published the newest game. I don't know what and I don't know much of anything about those games. I'm like literally running through any JRPGs I know, and I have no earthly idea. Do the characters use swords in this game? Primarily, maybe, or maybe at least half the time, or a good deal.
That is a really good question. And
C2, if this is your game, what would you say to that? Do they use swords a great deal in this game?
I would be shocked if there are no swords in this game, but I don't know if it is if it is like at least half of the weapons that are used in this game. But I think I can find that out.
He says, oh, you don't have to get that specific, C2. He's like, the pro tag does. Yeah, it's just a yes or no question.
I mean, we'll say yes, swords are definitely a common weapon in this game, but I'm sure there are many weapons that you can use in this game.
I might cave, man. I'm giving myself like another 2 minutes. Because I don't think I'm gonna get to this.
I have you at 14, man. I'm doing a lousy job of keeping track, but
I think that was 15. I think I just asked 15. Based off a super tone in the chat. At this point, I am just spitballing questions out because I don't think I'm going to get it. No.
I can just tell you. Well, I don't know if it's at the point where you want
Did Capcom have any part? Did Capcom or Konami have any part of this game?
No.
Okay. I was remembering this freaking awesome Mega Man turn-based game during the GameCube and PS2 era, and it was awesome. I think it was Mega Man X Command Mission. That was a good game. I don't freaking know. Okay, you know what I'm gonna ask? Is this part of a franchise? Is this like,
yes,
multiple? Okay, all right. And then is this franchise still around today?
Yes.
Like, have they had a release within like the past 5 years or so?
Well,
like they've had a release in the past 5 years, or they have one coming up, kind of a thing. Close, but not close enough.
So there's a yes and a no answer to that.
Okay. So maybe it's recent enough, but maybe not as recent as I said.
Well, can you get more specific? I don't know if you can think of any way to get more specific with that question.
I feel like that's broad / specific enough. If the franchise has had a release in the past 5 years or has one coming up.
Yes, the franchise has had a release in the last 5 years.
Okay. Wow. I am gonna. So it's something established, and this game came from the PlayStation 2. So what the frick? And it still comes out somewhat today. Is this game represented at all by the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate roster?
Yes.
What? Holy shit!
I have you at 19 right now, so that means you have one question and a guess, right?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I'm having a blast, so if you just want to keep going, I'm down. But
no.
But
oh my god, it's part of the Super Smash Bros. Oh, it's Dragon Quest! Okay, it's Dragon Quest. But what game? I don't freaking know. Shit! What other... I can't even think... No, wait. No, because that's clearly Square. I don't know why you would hesitate with that. What the frick? Okay, now I'm running through everything.
I have to say it. Just do not get caught up on the Square Enix thing.
Okay, JRPG, part of the Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. That's like my biggest hint right now at this point. Patrick Cervantes, I think I know what it is. Shoot. Okay, I need to drop my last question so we can wrap this. Shoot. JRPG characters, PlayStation 2. I can only think of like Sora, Hero, Tekken, but Tekken was a fighting game, and that's Bandai Namco. Frick, I can't think of who it would be. Fire Emblem.
Go down the roster, man.
That's DLC characters.
That Smash Brothers question is that's your ticket to
that's
this
my
game.
That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Fire.
And I will clarify, it's part of the franchise has this character in there. So I may have been unclear about that. Like this franchise has a character in
my question was, is this franchise represented in any way by the Smash Ultimate roster?
Okay,
so
good.
Yeah. Which obviously would have to be the character. Then freaking Sephiroth Cloud. I'm like thinking of all the JRPG characters, but it's not Final Fantasy. It's Sora. I'm missing somebody. Who is it? Oh my god! I can only think of one. But it's not that. Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to let this wrap up. So, I got so close, and I'm forgetting who the one character that I'm not thinking of is, but. I'm just trying
to think if I can give you a hint.
No. Is this game part of the Dragon Quest franchise?
No.
Fuck. I have no idea.
You want to know? It's a franchise that
hang on. Because that was 20 questions.
That's true.
I actually do mess up. I'm not sure if actually on the 20th question, if you're supposed to, like, your last yes or no is it this game? So maybe that is.
Question if you want.
No. Oh, so you're enjoying being host.
Yeah, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
I always I'm just grinning the whole time, and I'm like wanting to root for the person too. Like,
yeah, I want you to get it.
Yeah,
because I know you can get this one, but man,
I'm just so frustrated because I'm going through everything. Who am I forgetting? who the hell in this Smash Ultimate roster of over 80 characters was a PlayStation 2 or is connected to the franchise that was on this PlayStation 2 JRPG that was turn-based, and that this game franchise that this game is connected to is in the Smash Ultimate roster, but it can't be a certain group of people. I literally can't think of who it is. I don't.
It was one of. I mean, one of the things I can say. It was one of the biggest. Well, do you want a hint or not? If not, I'll just let you.
No, I'm gonna guess. Is the game Final Fantasy 9?
No.
Yeah, I know. Give me a piece of the character that's in Ultimate.
The reveal from someone who doesn't play Smash Brothers, I would say the reveal of this character was the second most hyped reveal of a character on Smash Brothers Ultimate that I can remember. There may be 2 or 3 or 4 above it, but definitely one of the biggest reveals for a Smash Brothers character. Not the biggest, but it's one of them.
Oh my god! Is it Persona 2 or 3 or something?
It's
God damn it, it's fucking Joker! It's Joker!
Yeah, and it's
Joker!
It's not Persona 2 or 3, but
I don't even know. Oh, 4?
Yeah, it's Persona 4.
Oh, okay. See, I don't even know when they launched, but I would assume actually 4 was on the 3. Holy shit.
Yeah,
and that's why you hesitated. Yeah, because
I was a little fuzzy on that. It was actually released way earlier than I thought. 2008 on the PlayStation 2 in Japan. And the reason the Square Enix thing threw me off is I think
Square
most
Enix
people know
that
it's a Sega game now, and it's Atlas is who makes it. But it was published by Square Enix in the PAL region, which covers parts of Europe. So I guess they published it over there. So that's why, like I said, it's a fact that it was published by Square Enix. Like that, you can't argue it. But most people would not say that it was published by Square Enix. So that was a tough one for me to answer.
You know what really frustrates me is that we got to do this once when the first part of Good Game 2 years ago. And I got so close, and this time I got so close again. I couldn't think that's like the one I'm like, there's just one character I am not seeing, and it's freaking Joker. It's freaking Joker.
Yeah.
And if I realized that, I could have been like, okay, is the color scheme to this game blue? Like, I would just go through color schemes.
Yeah. I mean, and other than Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, which you named, I mean, this is easily, I would say, the next biggest JRPG franchise on the PS2. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but
I mean, at the time, like they got really popular with 5, I would say. But like 3 is when they started to really get on the map, and then 5 is when they got like mainstream, I would argue.
Yeah, at least if you go in Japan, this was big. But yeah, anyway, good game.
Yeah.
Well, now we're both 0 for 1. Well, I don't know.
Yes, that is true.
I think I might be 0 for 2 because a long time ago I lost a game. It's just a tough game. 20 questions.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Next Gen Console Speculation, the PS5 Pro, what the heck is going to happen to Annapurna next. I'm really curious about that one in terms of the immediate future, but I'm sorry I didn't get the game like the first time I got to play in a while. But Josh, it's been great having you on. I hope you had a good time, and thank you for coming. It was a very you've had a busy day, and I appreciate your time, and yeah, any final comments?
No, just thanks for having me, and yeah, this is a great way for me to end my day. It was a busy day, but great way for me to end it and the week. So thanks for asking me, and I guess the one thing I will say is I, for the first time in 18 months or so, published a video on my YouTube channel.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's I published a tips video for Star Wars Outlaws of all games. Like, I must like mediocre open world games because I love this game, and I decided to publish a tips video for it. So if anybody is playing Outlaws on the off chance,
oh my god, you did!
Yeah.
Wow, cool, awesome. Everybody should check it out. The top comment, dude, where the heck have you been?
Yeah, and I think the bottom comment is why pay for this trash or something like that. So don't listen to the hype on Outlaws. If you like exploring and you like you want a Ubisoft game that doesn't feel like a Ubisoft game, I would actually highly recommend it. But if you are if you're expecting a great combat in an action game, yeah, you're probably not going to like it. But if you like stealth, it's also very good.
Yeah, cool, man. All right.
Anyway, that's it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, folks, have a lovely weekend if you listen to this live. If you listen to the replay, whenever you listen to this, I look forward to speculating more with you and hope to hear your thoughts on the topics we have. But until next time, be geek, be proud, be awesome.